rather than just a regulatory obligation. So effective GRC management helps businesses mitigate their risks, maintain trust with their stakeholders, and also ensure compliance and enhance their overall performance.
Right. So, I would like to know more about into the importance of GRC. Like, how can organizations can quantify the impact of poor GRC practices on their business operations?
So before we proceed further on that part, Shweta, I also wanted to quickly summarize on how we actually have trends and other things. So
Yeah.
since you have actually asked this question on the poor GRC management of business operations, I actually wanted to highlight a couple of things which can quantify the impact of measuring key metrics, which can be the financial losses which happen due to fines, legal penalties, and also data breaches. Second most important aspect is the downtime of operational issues or operational disruptions which are resulting from unmanaged risks. Third thing is the reputational damage which happens by the loss of business opportunities or the customer churn which have things. And compliance cost effectiveness is something which also adds on top of the cake, which is more like an additional expense which is involved in remediating non-compliance issue. So this is something which actually lead to quantify the impact of measuring key metrics.
After this, let's go further with
Sure.
the evolution of GRC in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yes. Okay. So, for to understand the evolution of GRC here in Saudi Arabia, we actually need to understand this from three different perspectives. One obviously is the historical context and the global influence on the GRC. Second part is the adoption of these particular trends here in Saudi Arabia and its Vision 2030, and how that particular vision is impacting on the GRC part. So first, let's understand the historical context and the global influence. Currently, we are today with GRC in Saudi Arabia. It's important to look at how GRC practices have evolved globally. So GRC has traditionally been treated as a separate discipline compared to IT and then security. However, when businesses grew more complex and interconnected, it became clear that these areas could not actually function in silos. So this realization led to the integrated GRC approach, which we see today, one which is very holistic, which covers all aspects of risk and compliance across an organization. So globally, this shift was driven by increasing complexity of regulatory environments. For as a high profile corporate failures that underscored the need for a stronger governance. So organizations worldwide began to adopt more comprehensive GRC frameworks, influenced by international bodies like the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision. This was something which set a global standard for banking regulation. Whereas when it comes to the adoption of GRC in Saudi Arabia, the GRC practices have been heavily influenced with these kind of global trends, but it has also been shaping the unique needs of the kingdom. The Saudi government and regulatory bodies have proactively ensuring that these local regulatory framework is actually robust and also aligned with international best practices, while also addressing the specific challenges and opportunities present in the kingdom. So the third aspect which we see is more towards Vision 2030 and its impact on GRC, because Vision 2030, which aims to diversify the economy and also to reduce the kingdom's dependency on oil has actually been a major catalyst for the adoption of GRC framework. This vision is not just about the economic growth alone, but it's also about creating a strong foundation of governance, transparency, and also accountability. For instance, the government's push towards digital transformation, the smart cities, the development of robust financial sector has actually made it essential for organizations to adopt GRC frameworks that can supply these particular initiatives. So let's also take a look at some specific sectors. Like for example, we have financial sector here. Okay, Vision 2030 for financial sector has actually led to significant reform, which are actually aimed towards enhancing the regulatory framework, which in return is driven towards the adoption of comprehensive GRC practices. Similarly, in healthcare, the push towards digital health record, okay, and also the telemedicine has actually created new risks. So that must be managed through a robust GRC framework again. So similarly, again in the energy sector, the shift towards renewable energy sources that introduced new regulatory requirements further is also underscoring the need of effective GRC practices, Shweta.
Right. On this, Shabaz, I have a question for you regarding like how is digital transformation driving the evolution of GRC in Saudi Arabia, and what are the key differences, may I know, between traditional GRC models and modern digital first GRC frameworks?
So let's just frame these two questions, these two particular areas into two different questions. One obviously is towards digital transformation and how it's actually playing a part in the evolution of GRC. And then second question, obviously, which you asked me was the difference between the traditional GRC models and also the modern digital first GRC frameworks. So on the digital transformation part, it actually plays a very crucial role. If you see, it's actually by enabling more automated and data driven GRC processes, which we are seeing today, which also allows organizations to leverage technologies like your real time monitoring and also incident response. Parallelly, that also facilitates compliance with emerging digital regulations that we see, such as those related to cloud services and data privacy, which are two new hot cake for people here in Saudi. So this shift that we see towards digitization actually has been helping organizations in Saudi Arabia to manage their risks more proactively using real time, and also effectively comply with these particular regulatory frameworks. So this was more towards the digital shift that we have seen. To answer your second question on the difference in digital or the GRC, traditional GRC practices, traditional GRC practices have always often uh, look like very heavily relied on manual processes, which makes them slow and reactive. Whereas your modern or digital first GRC frameworks, on the other hand, use a lot of automation, okay, to streamline the compliance and also the auditing process. This also the leverages the use of AI and analytics for a real time risk detection and also forecasting. And this digital first practices also are integrated across the organization, allowing them to or allowing them for better cross functional collaboration, which we see this evolution that actually has happened from a reactive to a proactive approach is actually critical in today's fast changing regulatory landscape here in Saudi.
So moving further, let's talk about the key regulatory frameworks shaping GRC in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. So as you can see on the screen here, Shweta, so I have categorized this into two different charts. One, obviously, on the right hand side, you see is some of the major regulators which we have here in the kingdom. Parallelly, couple of frameworks which are very well known to everybody who are a part of GRC and who have joined here today. So we have a couple of major regulators, starting from your SAMA, which plays a major role, in financial and banking sector. Then we have Sadaya, which is more towards inclined towards Saudi data and how AI authority actually has to be, formed. This actually works in collaboration with NDMO, which is National Data Management Office. And then we have NCA, National Cybersecurity Authority, which has its own regulations more focused towards, the essential cybersecurity practice or the data security practice, the cybersecurity or the cloud security practice, the social media, security controls, the operational technology controls from a process perspective and other things. And then we also have, data management and personal data protection, which I said, this is in collaboration with Sadaya and NDMO, but majorly released by NDMO alone. And then we have the digital government regulatory framework, which was released by DGA. We have again CITC's clouds computing regulatory framework, and then we have PCI-DSS 4.0 now releasing, which is a very crucial framework for any financial services organization which has a transaction practice, be it bank or any a completely financial services institute. Then we have ISO 27001, which has been globally recognized with a lot of different areas which are a thin line or a basic line for cybersecurity practices. So I wanted to drill down a little more in detail about what these frameworks actually talk about. If you see, SAMA has released three different framework: SAMA IT, SAMA CSF, and then SAMA BCM. But the major focus is more towards the SAMA CSF, which is the SAMA Cybersecurity Framework. This framework was basically introduced to strengthen the cyber resilience of the financial sector alone, because it actually lays out the essential cybersecurity controls that banks or financial institutes must actually implement, not just to comply from a regulatory perspective, but also to protect their assets, their data, their operations. So this framework, emphasizes the need for comprehensive risk assessments, effective incident response, and also continuous monitoring of cyber threats. By adopting SAMA CSF, financial institutions ensure that they not just comply with the regulatory requirements of SAMA, but also do build a more resilient security posture. Similarly, with NCA, okay, NCA has actually been very instrumental in shaping the security landscape of Saudi Arabia. So NCA actually has brought a couple of regulations, five obviously, which I highlighted: the ECC, CSCC, DCC, OSMAC, and OPTC. So these are very few crucial frameworks that we actually see are being followed. To begin with, we have NCA Essential Cybersecurity Controls, which is ECC. This framework defines a set of minimum cybersecurity controls that organizations must actually implement across all sectors. So whereas SAMA focuses more on financial and banking sector, whereas NCA focuses on all the sectors, including banking and finance as well. So ECC actually focuses on securing critical assets, and also establishing a baseline for us, a cybersecurity practice. And now, recently, from the past couple of years, we have also seen there's a lot of shift which is happening towards cloud. So Saudi was a country where we have seen most of the legacy systems which you can actually find, because we were all dependent on on-prem kind of an infrastructure. Now, slowly, with all these evolutions happening on digital transformation and visions part, so we have now been starting to evolve and more adopt cloud. So since the cloud actually was growing, NCA thought that some regulations actually has to come in play. So they introduced NCA CSCC, so that this framework actually ensures that organization using cloud services have necessary security measures in place to again protect their data which is on cloud, and also operations which they do using cloud services. When we are talking about a cloud, obviously data is connected to it. We also have to talk about the data classification controls, which is more towards how the classification of data actually has to be done. So traditionally we used to do it more on using some of the tools like data classification tools and other things. Now we actually have to follow a particular regulation that has come in for a data classification part. So DCC focuses on classification of data based on sensitivity and also importance of the data that we actually have. So organizations are actually required to implement strict controls to protect sensitive data, such as a personal information or any kind of a financial information that is available on their website or on their data house. So this is where it was introduced. Since we also have seen a major shift on the social media part, which we usually see now, because people are more focused towards social media. They actually want to be very active on a lot of social media platform. So they actually introduced OSMAC. These controls actually apply to the government organizations in Saudi, including ministries, the authorities, the establishments, and other small to medium sized companies. It also applies and also strongly encourages all the organization in kingdom to leverage these controls and best practices to improve and enhance their cybersecurity practice. And then we also see NCA operational technology protection control. So this framework actually guides organization to how or focus their goals towards industrial control system, which is ICS, and also defines its cybersecurity requirements. So this framework also enables organizations to fulfill mandated cybersecurity requirements if in case they are planning to outsource it, and also protect their critical information and also its readiness level towards cybersecurity risks. So it has OTCC actually focuses on more four key pillars: the strategy, people, process, and the technology part. And then since we were talking about privacy and personal information, NDMO again and Sadaya came into picture. So they introduced data management and personal data protection. NDMO actually oversees the data management and protection practices here in Saudi Arabia. Uh, its personal data privacy law, which we see, provides a regulatory framework that ensures that organizations are responsible for how they collect, store, and also process personal data. So this data or this particular law is particularly important as Saudi moves towards a digital economy, so where data actually has become very valuable asset. So organizations are actually required to ensure that they are fully compliant with requirements to avoid penalties and maintain public trust. And then we have also seen digital government regulatory framework, which is again by the Digital Government Authority, DGA. So this was actually, DGA was basically established to regulate the digital transformation of government entities here in Saudi. So this regulatory framework, ensures that public sector organizations focus or follow strict governance and compliance protocols while transitioning to digital services. So it promotes more of a transparency, efficiency, and accountability within the government sector. So, since we were also talking about cloud, we also have to mention about Communication and Information Technology Commission, which is CITC. They also have a regulation for cloud computing regulatory framework. CITC was also introduced, because we saw again a major shift which was happening towards cloud computing practices as well. So, Cloud Computing Regulatory Framework by CITC was actually introduced to ensure the safe and effective use of cloud services. And this framework also sets out the rules for data protection, security, compliance for data service providers operating here in the kingdom, because we have a lot of regulations on the cloud practices, because the data is data and it is very crucial for any businesses. Any cloud adoption or cloud provider should actually ensure that no information or no such data is stored outside the kingdom. It has to be within the kingdom itself. So this is where we or the CITC introduced this particular framework as the cloud operation, or the cloud adoption was accelerating. So um, so this was more towards that. And then we have also seen a major shift on the PCI DSS and ISO 27001 as well. PCI DSS is majorly again followed worldwide for all banking and financial services institutions, wherein they do a lot of monetary transactions, which through a POS or any other different mediums of transactions which actually happen. So for those kind of transactions, we have PCI DSS as the regulatory authority coming into picture. So now we have PCI DSS 4.0, which has got released very recently this year. All the companies are supposed to be complied with PCI DSS 4.0 by end of this year. So ISO 27001 is something which is very crucial for any business. It can be of any type. So 27001 is more focused towards the baseline security practices again. So this is something which I actually wanted to talk on the frameworks part, Shweta.
Okay. So, on the frameworks, I would like to know more about like what are the primary cybersecurity requirements outlined in the NCA's Essential Cybersecurity Control Framework.
See, if you see NCA, NCA actually requires organizations to implement their access control mechanism to limit who can actually access the critical data and system. This is one key aspect of it. Second key aspect of it is the security monitoring and incident response protocols to detect and manage security incidents in real time. The third part is the data classification and protection measures, which ensures that sensitive data is properly handled. The fourth part, which is very important from all angles and from all regulatory frameworks, is the risk management processes, which will have to regularly be mitigated or will have to be followed properly. So these controls ensure that the organizations maintain a base level of cybersecurity by protecting their infra as well as their sensitive data.
Right. Thank you so much, Abbas, for outlining the key regulatory frameworks like NCA's ECC, which focuses on core cybersecurity practices, right? like access control and incident monitoring. And for cloud environments, NCA's CSCC emphasize encryption, access management, and secure configuration to protect data. Thank you so much for these insights. Moving forward, let's talk about the current state of GRC in Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Yeah. So, to understand the current state of GRC here in Saudi Arabia, we need to understand what are the trends. We also need to understand the key challenges and also the role of technology. So, if you can see here on the screen on the chat, we have three different areas. One obviously are some of the adoption trends across sectors like your banking, financial services, your health care and insurance, and third obviously is energy. So these are a few industries where more focus is given today. And then we also need to understand a couple of challenges which are more inclined towards the regulatory complexities, or integration of all these frameworks, and managing those frameworks at once becomes a very crucial challenge. Third obviously is we have seen a major drift which is happening on introducing new different frameworks into Saudi Arabia, whereas people will obviously have to adopt with new trends, and they have to learn new skill sets or learn new technologies. So where there we actually see a lot of talent and skill gap. The third area is all about technology, because technology now is everything, and technology plays a major role in actually GRC. So to understand these current state, we need to dive in more towards the adoption trends across tech sectors, because today we see a widespread adoption of GRC frameworks across various sectors in Saudi Arabia. This is because it's being driven by regulatory landscape, and also because of the goals of Vision 2030. So let's also deep down a little more on the embracing GRC sectors. If for in instance, if we see the financial sector and the banking sector, so as I already mentioned that frameworks like Sama cybersecurity framework has actually become an integral part to operations. So financial institutions are investing heavily in GRC technologies and processes to ensure that they remain compliant, while also managing the increasing risk associated with the digital banking and online transactions. Second industry, if you consider healthcare and insurance, we have seen since healthcare and insurance both are interconnected, so we have seen an adoption of electronic health records. So before it was all legacy. Now it is more shifted towards electronic system of managing the records, and also the telemedicine has actually brought significant benefits, but also introduced new risks, particularly around the data privacy and the security part. And healthcare providers are increasingly turning towards GRC frameworks, and to manage these frameworks and ensure that their patient data is protected, and they will have to comply with all regulatory compliance, be it HIPAA or different NCA, or from ISO standpoint. So they obviously have to invest across these things. In the energy sector, this is another area where GRC adoption now is very critical, because with Saudi Arabia's push towards renewable energy or the renewable resources, and with the development of new infrastructure, organizations in this sector must manage complex risks, be it from the regulatory, environmental sustainability standpoint, or any other different areas which they actually focus. So GRC frameworks are helping these organizations navigate all these challenges by ensuring that they achieve their business objectives while they also manage their risks efficiently. Second thing is the common challenges which I was just highlighting. uh, you know One of the most common significant challenge is the complexity of regulations. So as the regulatory landscape continues to evolve, organizations must keep up with a growing number of requirements. So this can be particularly challenging for organizations that operate in multiple sectors, so where they must comply with different set of regulations. Another challenge is the integration of GRC frameworks with existing processes. So since I already mentioned that many organizations have legacy systems that are not designed to support GRC practices. So integrating GRC practices with these systems can be complex and again time consuming process as well. So it also often requires significant changes to existing workflows and processes. So this is another major challenge. And also managing all these frameworks. For an example, if we see a bank has to follow with all these regulations, be it NCS 5 regulations, SAMA, and then ISO, and a different NDMO, a lot of things. So managing all these frameworks actually becomes very challenging task because they don't have a clear visibility on how things are actually being processed from a compliance perspective, or how audits are actually getting automated. So they have, since they actually use a lot of Excel sheets to manage all these processes, it actually becomes a very challenging thing. And third challenge that we have also seen when we are discussing with our customers is that the challenge of talent and skill gaps, because the demand for skilled GRC professionals is actually growing, but the supply is limited. So this is particularly true in emerging market like Saudi Arabia, where there is a shortage of professionals with the expertise needed to implement and manage all these frameworks effectively. So these were a couple of challenges that I have encountered while discussing with our own customers. And the third important aspect is the role of technology in GRC. So if you see, fortunately, technology is playing a critical role in helping organizations overcome all these challenges which I just mentioned. So automation is one of the most significant trend in GRC today. By automating your routine compliance tasks, organizations can actually ensure that they can reduce the burden on their staff, and they can also ensure that they remain compliant with regulations. For example, uh, automated compliance management or automated audit management tools can continuously monitor any organization's activity. They can generate reports on compliance status. They can also reduce the need for manual audit because everything is automated. The second key aspect on the technology part is the real time risk monitoring, which is another area where technology is making a difference. So traditional risk management approaches often rely on periodic assessments, which also can lead organizations to exposed to risk in between assessments. So by leveraging real time risk monitoring tools, organizations can continuously monitor their risk environment and also can respond to threats as they arrive. And then third important aspect on the technology part is the advanced analytics, which is also helping organizations make more informed decisions in GRC. Digital or advanced analytics can analyze large volume of data, so organizations can easily identify the trends, the patterns that may not be immediately apparent, but also allowing them to take a more proactive approach to risk management and compliance.
Right, Shabazz. So, on the current state, I would like to know how can organizations can perform an effective GRC maturity assessment to identify gaps in their current practices, and
Okay.
also to know more about the key advantages of integrating GRC technologies such as AI and analytics into their risk management framework.
See, an effective GRC maturity assessment involves five different stages or five different areas. One obviously is evaluating your current governance processes. Second is understanding your risk management capabilities. Third is your compliance management, wherein you review how your organization is tracking the regulatory requirements and whether they are being met consistently or not. The fourth part is the technology use, as I already mentioned, and analyzing the extent to which automation or tools like uh, you know uh, tools like risk dashboard or compliance tracking systems or any audit management tools like compliant are actually used. Fifth part is benchmarking against the best practices. Once when you understand all these four areas from a governance processes, risk management, compliance management, and technology perspective, you can do a benchmarking against the industry best practices. Then you can compare the results with industry best practices to identify the areas of your improvement. So this is how you can do a maturity risk assessment. So to answer your another question, which was more towards how integrating GRC technologies like AI and analytics, right, can help organizations with their risk management framework. So there are like several advantages of integrating AI and analytics into GRC. One obviously is the real time risk detection. So AI can monitor vast amount of data and can also detect or any particular threats much faster than the traditional methods which we follow. Second area is predictive risk modeling, wherein analytics can forecast potential risks based on the historical data, also allowing them to be more proactive and also have a proactive risk management approach. Third thing is adoption of sorry third thing is adoption of automation to automate their routine compliance task, because AI can handle tasks like the audit preparations, compliance reporting, policy enforcement. This actually helps reduce the manual intervention which is actually seen today. A fourth important aspect is enhanced decision making, because data driven insights from AI and analytics help the leadership team make more informed as to what is actually happening from an analytical perspective, so that they can take timely decisions about risk mitigations or the governance strategies.
Thank you so much, Abbas, for sharing the insights on how GRC maturity assessment identifies gap in governance, risk and compliance processes, and also about the AI and analytics further enhance GRC by providing real-time risk detection, automation, and predictive insights. With this, moving ahead to how to know more about Skillmine's comprehensive approach to GRC.
Okay. So at Skillmine, we understand the challenges organizations face basically in implementing and managing GRC frameworks. So that's why we actually offer a comprehensive range of GRC solutions, which you can see on the screen. These solution or services are designed to meet specific needs of an organization, whether it's about the advisory or consulting, whether it's implementation of any particular framework, or managing those frameworks on a yearly basis, and also managing all your audits, and also automating all your audit using our own audit management solution Compliant. So our approach to GRC is again holistic, because as I already mentioned, we cover everything from risk assessment to compliance audit to cybersecurity solution, and also third party risk management, which is again a pain area for a couple of customers. We also work with our clients to understand their unique challenge and also develop tailored solution that can actually help achieve their business objectives. If we see, we have we are actually dealing with multiple customers. A couple of case studies which I also wanted to highlight obviously is how we helped a financial institution in Saudi Arabia. This was again on SAMA. So when we started, they were on a score of 0. So we any organization which you see would be max at a level of 4 or 4.5, that too after managing that particular framework for 5 6 years, or in fact more than that. So we worked with that organization. The issue that this organization actually had, they were actually facing several challenges, including the need to protect sensitive customer data, their third party risk management, and also the continuous compliance with the regulatory requirements, be it from a SAMA perspective or PCI. What we did was we started by conducting a comprehensive risk assessment, wherein we tried to identify the organization's vulnerabilities, and we also tried to determine the most effective controls, and then we worked with that organization to implement all these controls. And then we also used our compliance tool, which was more towards helping us to implement that particular thing, and also uh, managing that particular framework post implementation as well. So we implemented the SAMA CSF framework, and then we are currently providing ongoing support and also training that particular customer from all the angles of GRC. So the results were impressive. The organization score straight away moved to 3 from 0. So it is more like 0 1 2 3. So we were up to 3. The customer was satisfied. We also managed that particular framework, and we also gave them confidence to focus on their core businesses activities. Second case study is we also deal with a major telecom service provider here in Saudi Arabia. They also had the same issue, wherein they were not able to cope up with PCI DSS requirements. So we have been managing PCI DSS advisory and consulting, implementation, backend operations for that particular telecom service provider from the past 5 years. Again, a third case study that I would like to highlight is one of a healthcare sector, where we worked with a provider that was actually struggling to manage their risks associated with electronic health records, and in fact their telemedicine as well. So we again implemented a robust risk management framework that again included the risk assessment, data protection measures, and trainings and other things. We also integrated our own compliance solution again to smoothly manage the complete audit management process. So as a result, all these organizations were able to significantly improve their security practices and also GRC practices, and they were able to focus more on providing how high quality services to their patients. Another thing which I wanted to talk about is, if you can see here in the slide, the second table which describes about compliance, which is more of IT and cyber GRC audit management solution. So what we see majorly is that the use of Excel sheets in managing the evidences, the tasks, and also adhering to a multiple regulatory standards, not just one, because you actually cannot manage all those 7 8 standards in Excel sheets. So that is where we understood, because we were dealing with a lot of customers in implementing the frameworks and managing those frameworks at a different level. So then we realized that there is actually a need of having a audit management solution which actually smoothens or automates their complete audit management journey. So we identified a few areas which were risk management, the policy management, the asset management, all these, the vulnerability management part, third party risk management. All these areas were something which actually needed an automation required. So that is where we introduced Complement, and Complement is has actually been implemented with a lot of multiple customers across Saudi Arabia and India as well. So we also have both the versions of Complement, because we most of the people have legacy systems here. They still depend on on-prem infrastructure. So we do have both the versions of cloud and on-prem. So we have both the things in place, and this is how we have actually been helping customers audit, automate their audit management journey, and also implementation of these kind of different frameworks.
Great, Shabazz. Thank you so much for the overview. So, to know more about the Complement solution, I would like to know like how GRC solution can scale to meet the needs of growing organizations in sector like finance, healthcare, or government.
So, as I already mentioned, Shweta, Skillmine's audit management solution, which is Complement, is designed more, to be more scalable with a modular architecture, which allows organizations to adopt not only the necessary components initially, but also to expand the system as regulatory demands or internal processes evolve. So that is how architecture of that particular platform is designed, because the more frameworks come into picture, that is how the backend team starts working towards that particular framework. Currently we have more than 25 plus worldwide evolved or worldwide followed frameworks currently on the platform. The target is to go above 100 within a couple of months. And then we also have automation, because handling increasing volume of data and compliance checks without requiring additional manual effort can be done using Complement. And it is also making a deal for growing businesses, because we have automated all the complete modules using ML. So this is how things are currently followed on Complement. The third major part, as I already mentioned, that Complement is again a cloud-based deployment, because this actually has been covering both on-prem and cloud kind of environment, because we understand the flexibility here in Saudi Arabia, and that is where we are actually flexible. Another major important factor is Compliment's the uniqueness for customization, because uh, every organization will have a different set of workflow or a different set of process which is inclined to meet their requirement. And no OEM will actually let you modify that particular platform as per your workflows or as per your audit platform. That is where we actually have centralized control which can manage multiple audits, and also can be uh, automated or enhanced as per your requirements. So that is where we have Complement in place.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shabazz, for walking us through how Skillmine's Complement solution simplifies audits, centralizes compliance, and tracks remediation efforts, and making GRC easier to manage. This solution also scales to meet the needs of growing organizations by leveraging automation and cloud capabilities. So, moving ahead to our last topic of this webinar, which is to know the future of GRC in Saudi Arabia.
See, to understand the future of GRC in Saudi Arabia, we need to understand it from three different perspectives. One obviously is from a trend perspective, because trend is something which keeps emerging every now and then. Second thing is the regulatory evolution part. Again, regulatory bodies keep evolving and try to bring in new frameworks every 6 months or 1 year down the line. So this is second important aspect. Third important aspect is the role of collaboration, because collaboration is very important. Because when you collaborate with external partners like Skillmine, it becomes very easy for you to manage all your GRC requirements. So I wanted to start by highlighting a few things on emerging trends in GRC. One obviously is the increased focus on ESG, which is environmental social governance. So this is an emerging trend in GRC, because there's a lot of increased focus on environmental, social, and governance criteria. And as investors and stakeholders also place greater emphasis on sustainability and ethical practices today, so organizations are actually integrating ESG into their GRC framework. In Saudi Arabia, we are seeing this trend taken hold as organizations recognize the importance of GRC in building a resilient and sustainable business. For example, companies are incorporating sustainable practices into their risk management processes, ensuring that they not only comply with regulations but also they contribute towards kingdom's broader sustainability issues, which is also one major pillar of Vision 2030. Second thing, the second trend which we have seen is the rise of AI and machine learning. So this is something which is also trending. So these technologies are transforming how organizations actually manage their risk, their fraud detection, and all fraud detection, and also ensuring compliance. By leveraging AI, organizations can actually analyze large volume of data for quickly and accurate figures. And also AI allows them to identify potential risks and take proactive measures to mitigate. However, the use of AI also has introduced new challenges, such as the need of managing risks associated with AI itself. So if you see, organizations must ensure that their AI systems are transparent, ethical, and compliant with regulations. So this actually requires a careful balance between leveraging the benefits and also managing its risk on the other hand. So this rise of AI and ML is something which is again trending. Third thing is the data privacy and protection. So this is something which is emerging here in Saudi Arabia. So finally, data privacy and protection are becoming increasingly important in the GRC landscape, particularly as global data protection regulations like GDPR influence local regulations, right? So in Saudi Arabia, we can expect to see a stricter enforcement of existing data protection laws as well as introduction of new regulations. So organizations must be prepared to adopt these challenges by building flexible and adaptive GRC frameworks. This means that organizations will have to stay ahead of all the regulatory changes by investing in data protection technologies and also continuously improving their GRC practices. So second major part is the regulatory evolution. We also have to consider regulatory evolution as something which will rise in Saudi Arabia. As the regulatory landscape in Saudi continues to evolve, organizations must be proactive in managing their compliance obligations. So this means not only adhering to existing regulations but also anticipating future changes and ensuring that their GRC frameworks are flexible enough to adapt to new requirements. So regulatory evolutions presents both challenges and opportunities. So organizations that can effectively navigate these challenges will be better positioned to achieve their business objective, while those who fail to adopt may find themselves at a competitive disadvantage. So third aspect is the role of collaboration. See, collaboration is a key to enhancing GRC practices in Saudi Arabia. This means not only working with experienced GRC partners like Skillmine, but also collaborating with organizations, industry bodies, and also government agencies. Public private partnerships, in particular, play a crucial role in addressing all these common challenges such as cybersecurity threats and regulatory compliance. By working together, organizations can share knowledge, the resources, best practices, and also help build a stronger and more resilient ecosystem here in Saudi Arabia. To sum up, GRC is an essential component of today's business environment, particularly in Saudi Arabia, where Vision 2030 is driving significant change. So happy to be a part of this particular webinar. And of course, we at Skillmine are always committed to help organizations in Saudi Arabia navigate their complexities of GRC. Our comprehensive range of GRC again is designed to specific needs of people. We also ensure that we are well equipped to manage their risk and also contribute to the broader goals of Vision 2030.
Thank you,
Thank
Shah.
you for your time and attention. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shabazz, for delivering such an insightful and engaging session on governance, risk, and compliance and its growing importance in Saudi Arabia. And your knowledge on the subject has provided us with a deeper understanding of how GRC frameworks can support the country's evolving regulatory landscape and Vision 2030 goals. Thank you so much. Now, to all the attendees, the floor is now open for the questions. Please feel free to type your questions in the chat box and we'll address it accordingly. After this, we'll be following up with the quiz questions. Please, everyone, it's a request to type your questions in the chat box. Okay. In the attendees, we have one question, Shabazz, for you. The question is, what are the key criteria organizations should consider when selecting a GRC solution or platform?
Okay. See, while actually conducting a criteria, key factors actually include the scalability of the solution. One obviously to see if that particular solution is to scalable to what extent. Second thing is all about integration with the existing systems, because most of the systems will be legacy. It actually becomes very difficult to integrate. And with solution like Complement, it is very easy for integration because we use open API connectors, and this can actually connect any kind of your device, be it your legacy, your cloud, or any other different systems that you actually have. Third important aspect is also the customization part. If that particular solution has customization options, for example, with us, we have customization open with our customers. We actually customize the solution as per the customer's requirement, because because of the workflows and the kind of processes which they have differ from one organization to the other. So that is where the people also should actually think about and see how if the tool is open for customizations or not. The third important factor is the user friendliness, and also the real time tracking part. So to see if that particular solution has a real time visibility on all the compliance tracking, be it your trackers, your evidence collections, or any kind of tasks which are actually happening, to see where you stand from which particular control. So this is what one actually should see while considering a solution across any GRC, be it audit management or be it compliance management. So these are a couple of things which needs to be considered, Shweta.
Yes, Shabas, thank you. Yeah, the next question for you is how crucial will be the role of generative AI into GRC in coming year?
Okay. So GRC actually again is playing a major role, as I already mentioned. So see, generative AI is again crucial because people need to evolve from their policy processes which they actually manage automatically or manage manually, which they are currently doing. So that manual to automation process is very crucial, and this will actually play a very important role because it makes life easier for people, as well as to manage their GRC frameworks very well, because they will have a complete visibility with AI, because AI will do their life easier in terms of automating their processes or automating their tasks, because half of their job is done because of AI, because AI can automatically understand the risk depending on the criticality level or the type of asset or processes which you actually follow.
Right. Okay, thank you so much, Shabas, for answering this. We have one more question for you,
Okay.
which is can you please share the audit management framework you have?
Can you share the audit management framework?
Yeah, or the website or any details.
Okay, audit management framework. I think, I mean, whoever is requesting, maybe
Anonymous.
Shweta, we can
Yeah.
share our own compliance solutions audit management process, because we have everything documented in that particular brochure. Maybe after this session, we can share the complete details on the platform.
Yes, please. Whoever is asking this question, please mail us. We'll directly give you this, right? So we can share it with you. And please do share your mail ID on the chat box. We will mail you with all the details. Next is how would you differentiate audit versus compliance?
Okay. See, audit is something which you actually do post implementation of any particular control. See, compliance is wherein you actually try to adhere to that particular control or that particular framework, whereas audit is something where you actually ensure or try to review that particular control is implemented or not. So these are two different aspects. Compliance is wherein you implement that particular control, whereas audit is something wherein you try to review if that particular control is implemented or not.
Thank you so much, Abbas, for answering all the questions. And here we wrap up the Q&A session and begin with our quiz. So everyone, please just let me share my screen for the quiz. You guys have to scan. Okay. I hope everyone can see my screen, right? You have to scan the scanner to start the quiz. And as everyone will join, we'll start the quiz. It's to just have a little quick quiz to recap some of our key points. And there are chances to stand a chance to win surprise prize. So please scan this QR code to participate. So guys, this is the information to tell that you'll have 20 seconds to answer each of the 10 questions, right? So do your best and let's see who wins. So it's the last call. If anyone wants to join this quiz, or shall we start? Let's wait for 10 seconds and then we'll start the quiz. Okay, let's start. Do you want me to on the volume? It's entertaining. Okay. First is Aditi. Shabas, you didn't scan?
No, no, no.
Arey. Yes, Avinash. You got a speed. Oh, Amrita. Nice. No one is from GRC or what? I think we have a winner, Amrita. You're only left with 30 seconds, I guess. Yes, only 20 seconds left, guys. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. End. Okay, so we have a winner. First is Amrita, second Aditi, and third is Anshika. Fantastic job, guys. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We hope this webinar has given you the valuable insights into GRC. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you all for attending and have a great evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.